it has been announced that Beyonce is now a billionaire. How we do here is we go to the most direct source that everyone is reporting from, and that is Forbes. So we're going to read the Forbes magazine article, and then we're going to get into what people are actually saying about this on social media, on Twitter, because she getting dragged and shit like that. But I'm gonna keep it cute or whatever. Cause I mean, I really don't got shit to say, like nothing negative to say about Beyonce for real, becoming a billionaire or whatever. But you know how the internet be. And there are, of course, important points when it comes to reaching billionaire status and stuff like that. So it says Beyonce is now a billionaire. A bold pivot to country music led to the most successful concert tour in the genre's history, helped Cowboy Carter lasso a 10-figure fortune, becoming just the fifth musician to do so. For almost any other musical artist, the Renaissance World Tour would be a career peak. The 3-hour career-spanning journey through Beyonce's discography was one of the concert sensations of 2023, grossing nearly $600 million and cementing her place alongside Taylor Swift as one of the biggest pop culture icons in the world. But the 44-year-old pop supernova, reinvented herself again in 2024, releasing a country album, Cowboy Carter, that would generate new commercial opportunities, a Christmas NFL halftime performance, and the world's highest grossing concert tour of 2025, ultimately earning Queen Bee another title of distinction, billionaire. Now, here's the thing, and I've been thinking about this, especially as I've been reading the reports on today. And I've been thinking, like, okay, so we know that Jay-Z Jay-Z for real, and Rock Nation got the deal with the NFL, right? And so I was thinking, like, you see how it say in the article, Cowboy Carter would generate new commercial opportunities, a Christmas NFL halftime performance, and the world's highest grossing concert tour of 2025. All right, cool. But here in the paragraph before, it says the Renaissance tour from 2023, grossing nearly 600 million, right? So I feel like they use a lot of the gross revenue from the Renaissance tour in order to fund everything that happened with the Cowboy Carter era and tour. Now, once again, who's my source? Nobody. I'm just reading fucking articles and understanding and trying to understand, like it says 2023, 600 million. So if she grossed nearly 600 million in 2023, on a surface level, it looks like she was closer to billionaire status then. But just because she grossed 600 million doesn't mean that she got paid 600 million, right? So many people got to get paid. So many people work on that tour. Beyonce, and I don't know why, like me talking about Beyonce right now, every time I say her name, y'all don't hear the mistake, but every time I go to say Beyonce's name, my tongue wants to say Nicki. I don't know why, but like, okay, so grossing 600 million, right? You know that on Beyonce's tours and stuff like that, she has the biggest crew, you'll ever see behind the stage and on the stage, so many dancers and stuff like that. We've all been to concerts and stuff, especially if you've been to any of Beyonce's concerts. I've never been, but she's the best of the best to do it, as well as just having a lot of people around her who assist with her production. And so, she makes a lot of money for that reason. And so, yeah, I'm sure that she also, once again, takes home a lot of money. But just because you see the big number, 600 million, doesn't mean that the artist pocketed all of that. Anyway, I think that like she took a lot of that money from the Renaissance tour to fund what happened for Cowboy Carter. And so, when we go down a paragraph below, we see that in 2024, releasing a country album, Cowboy Carter, that would generate new commercial opportunities, Christmas NFL halftime performance. And so we didn't see an NFL halftime performance this year. Last year was the first time that we ever saw that happen. And I wonder if and so in that performance, she got 50 million, right? So 50 million for that performance. And that was after Renaissance. So she's up 650 million. Honestly, you got to think about it from behind the scenes business perspective with Jay-Z, right? So Rock Nation, Live Nation. Live Nation owns 50% of Rock Nation as well as Jay-Z's partnership with the NFL. So a lot of plays that get behind the scenes and shit like that. I wouldn't, and this is me being a conspiracy theorist, so you don't have to believe anything that I'm about to say, but I kind of feel like, her and Jay-Z, they planned for this. They planned for, let's do this NFL halftime performance. Let's get you 50 million right there. Let's get you, biggest tours, biggest deals or whatever, so that you could, reach this billionaire status. Like, I feel like that's a plan. And honestly, like when you get to that level of business, you don't just do anything by surprise or because you fell on an opportunity. Everything is carefully planned out, especially with them, I'm not knocking them or whatever. I'm just saying that like I think that this was very what's it called? Just planned out or whatever. And then we're gonna see people clocking people talking about how, oh well, Beyonce been a billionaire since. She now joins an elite group of celebrities who have recently crossed the 3 comma threshold of the 22 billionaire entertainers Forbes has identified. nearly half were added in the last 3 years, and she becomes just the fifth musician, joining her husband, Jay-Z, as well as Taylor Swift, Bruce Springsteen, and Rihanna. So Beyonce began building her business empire in earnest in 2010 when she founded Parkwood Entertainment and brought control of nearly every aspect of her career in house. And the company manages her career. And I want you guys to listen to this section of the article specifically, because this is what a lot of artists, especially in her tier, like Beyonce, like Taylor Swift, like Nicki, this is what Nicki tried to do. I'm going to start over again. It says Beyonce began building her business empire in 2010 when she founded Parkwood Entertainment and brought control of nearly every aspect of her career in-house. So Beyonce's been famous since the 1990s, Destiny's Child or whatever. She, at some point, transitions from just Destiny's Child to becoming a solo artist, but still, when she became a solo artist, she didn't form her business structure to manage herself that time, right? Because of course you got to work, get management. Her father was managing her. At some point, Jay-Z takes over, and at some point, she's like, I want to take control. So in 2010, she founded Parkwood Entertainment and brought control of nearly every aspect of her career in-house. The company manages her career and produces all of her music, documentaries, and concerts, fronting most of the production costs in order to capture more of the back-end economics. So you hear a lot of artists talk about how majority of their money is made going on tour. And yes, a lot of artists make their own touring companies. You may have heard a couple of weeks ago that like Rod Wave was getting into some business shit with his touring company and stuff like that. They make their own touring companies and try to, front some of the production costs, like the article says, so that they can take more money on the back end, right? So probably every artist who tours has their own production company or touring company. It just depends on like to what scale you actually take on that responsibility, right, of financing it and producing your own tour. So you can tell that, like I said and started off the conversation, I can tell that just from reading this article, Beyonce took whatever she got from that 600 million from the Renaissance tour to front the cost of the Cowboy Carter tour so that she could take home more money. Now, of course, back when she did the Renaissance tour, she already had her own production company for tour. But you know how you hear people say when you got a business, you got to take your money and reinvest, pumping it into your business so that you can make more money, right? So that's, technically what she's doing. So it says, the company manages her career and produces all of her music, documentaries, and concerts, fronting most of the production costs in order to capture more of the back end economics. She says, when I decided to manage myself, it was important that I didn't go to some big management company. She said during a 2013 interview promoting her self-titled album Beyonce, I felt like I wanted to follow the footsteps of Madonna and be a powerhouse and have my own empire and show other women when you get to this point in your career, you don't have to go sign with someone else and share your money and your success. You do it yourself. And this is one of the things that I've been saying since, once again, like 2023, when Nicki started to talk about forming her own in that Joe Budden interview was in 2022, right after she released Do We Have a Problem with Little Baby. That is when she talked for the first time publicly about building her own management company to manage her career and choose the executives that she wanted to put in position to manage her. That is the pattern that a lot of bigger artists are taking, and rightfully so, right? So that they can have more control and they can take home more of the profit. However, the difference with Nicki, or what I wanted to point out with Nicki during that time, was that Nicki is always talking about bitches is copying, bitches is copying, bitches is copying, bitch, who's copying me? And you're gonna see people with my ideas that, that now they what the fuck she be saying? Like, we kind of thought she was talking about the documentary when she was saying like, you're gonna see an artist do something that I've been talking about doing for years. And to this day, we don't know what Nicki was talking about. But I don't know. I just always had a feeling that she was talking about like the documentary or whatever, even though like there's really like no proof of that. But yeah, my whole point is that once again, Nicki's hypocrisy, always talking about how bitches is copying her X, Y, and Z, but you have copied so much of Beyonce's rollout, of the way that Beyonce has structured her business, and you failed, And so it's just like nothing that you see is original, right? Taylor Swift does it, Beyonce does it, Nicki is telling you that bitches is copying off of me, these new female rappers is copying me, but you're copying Beyonce and Taylor Swift. The difference is nobody is clocking it, except for me though, right? So that's all I be trying to say, literally. Okay? Like, talk about how you be copying Beyonce. No shade. Talk about how I wonder if Beyonce had put out visuals for Renaissance and Cowboy Carter, she probably would have at least tried to do something with Pink Friday 2. The reason that Nicki felt so comfortable with not doing visuals for Pink Friday 2 is because Beyonce led the charge in terms of not putting out music videos for Renaissance. Okay? Now, there could be, especially now in hindsight, there could be other reasons for real, why Nicki didn't put out visuals for Pink Friday 2. But one of the most obvious ones were it's all about, once again, like, and Nicki is a pioneer in her own right as well, right? When you heard Lizzo the other day talk about you're going to see more and more celebrities start supporting Trump and X, Y, and Z, right? She is a pioneer. We can give her that. Beyonce is a pioneer as well. Taylor Swift is a pioneer as well. Put respect on where you get your ideas from and the people that you take from, because nothing that we see in business or anywhere is 100% original. And that was my point to you back in the day. And now, like, I'm seeing it come out in this Forbes article. Not exactly how I said it, but goddamn, bitch, Beyonce even gave credit to Madonna in this article where she said, I felt like I wanted to follow the footsteps of Madonna and be a powerhouse and have my own empire and show other women when you get to this point in your career, you don't have to go and sign with someone else and share your money and your success. You do it yourself. Beyonce is giving credit. Why can't you? Let's move on. It says, Queen Bee has expanded her business empire into a handful of celebrity-friendly industries, including a hair care brand, Sacred, a whiskey label, Sir Davis, and a clothing line, Ivy Park. Y'all let me know, have you guys tried any of Beyonce's companies? I don't, I'm not a Beyonce fan or whatever. Don't hate her, but, I'm not really a fan. I've actually been wanting to try the Edge serum from Sacred, and I haven't gotten to it yet. So that's something that I do want to try because it has raving reviews and everyone says it works and stuff like that. But yeah, like, I never really bought any Beyonce products before. So it says a clothing line, Ivy Park, that, Beyonce got a lot of flack for. It wasn't selling. She discontinued it in 2024. Most of her personal wealth comes from her music by controlling the rights to her enormously valuable catalog and earning a massive income from her global tours. Across any category of the entertainment industry, there is practically no enterprise more lucrative than a musician who can sell out stadiums. And in the post-pandemic era, artists have taken a more is more approach to live performances, supersizing the spectacle and often adding a documentary film at the end of the tour. Why am I laughing, you might ask? Because, Nicki's documentary is so highly anticipated and stuff like that. And she loves to make it seem like she comes up with these grand ideas that ain't nobody did before. But bitch, people been doing documentaries since the beginning of time, especially, other artists and stuff like that, right? And so it's like, and even check on different artists who are lower in tier than her. City Girls, they had their own documentary. And I wasn't even a fan of the City Girls, but bitch, I was watching that shit. Bitch, because if you don't know me, I'm a documentary type person. I always have been my whole life. I'm a documentary and I'm an interview type person. I love to watch artist interviews. I love to watch documentaries. Because it takes you behind the process. We all love music and artists so much, and it's so interesting to learn about the things that go on behind the scenes, especially when it comes to the business. So, bitch, I'm here for a good interview. But my point is that when you look at this Forbes article, it's telling you that in a post-pandemic era, adding a documentary film at the end of the tour it's just something that everybody does. So while Nicki trying to make it seem like, oh, bitches is taking my idea, bitch, the City Girls did it, and what? Bitch, Karol G got her documentary coming out on Netflix before you, ho. Like, bitch, you're not original, ho. And bitch, if you want the motherfucking credit, then make it come true. Do the idea before somebody get to it, because that's how business goes. If you come out with a idea, you better get it done before anybody else does it. We live in a capitalistic society. You think that, oh, because you said I'm gonna do a documentary, that bitches is gonna sit back, relax, and wait until Nicki Minaj come out with her documentary so they could do one too? No, that's how bitches is making money. So everybody about to do a documentary, and you're seeing that everywhere, right? We never get in that doc. I don't think we are either, to be honest with you. And honestly, I don't really give a fuck no more, because, child, like I said yesterday, if Nicki don't do her documentary, somebody gonna do it, okay? And it might be me. So we gonna see it one way or another. Anyway. Okay, so a documentary film at the end of her tour. Child, Taylor Swift got her documentary in theaters. I mean, probably Beyonce do too, but I wouldn't know because I don't go and look at them, so, but yeah, theaters. Bitches got documentaries in theaters before you could get yours on YouTube, bitch. I wasn't even planning to laugh like that. I'm crying. Yo, Lord, it says a ticket to the Cowboy Carter tour this summer not only guaranteed fans a chance to see nearly 3 hours of Beyonce performing, but also featured a flying car, robotic arms, pouring Sir Davis, of course, a golden mechanical bull, and guest appearances that included her husband, her children, and her former Destiny's Child bandmates. It says mounting such a worldwide production, of course, is a huge and expensive undertaking. For the Cowboy Carter tour, that meant more than 350 crew members, 100 semi trucks worth of equipment, and 8 747 cargo planes to move it from city to city. That is so crazy. 8 planes, 100 trucks, 350 crew members. Wow. In traditional touring, a show of that scale wouldn't be economically viable, but Beyonce is one of the pioneers of a new mini residency model, setting up just 9 stadiums across America and Europe for multiple days to play a total of 32 shows. And as with Taylor Swift Eras Tour, fans have been proven eager to travel long distances and pay exorbitant prices to witness the extravaganza. In total, the Cowboy Carter Tour grossed more than 400 million in ticket sales. That's interesting though, because they said that Renaissance got 600 million, but Cowboy Carter got 400 million. That's like interesting. And I'm not going to like try to think about it right now because that would be like too much. Because you would think that like the more you go on tour or every tour you go on is supposed to make more and more and more money, you know? But it said Renaissance 600 million, Cowboy Carter 400 million. 6 plus 4 is 10. That's a billion right there. I'm just doing dumb math. But anyway, it says more than 400 million in ticket sales and another 50 million in merchandise. Okay, so basically 450 million sold at the shows according to Forbes estimates. And because Parkwood produced it all, Beyonce was able to secure higher profit margins. Combining what she made touring with earnings from her music catalog and sponsorship deals this year, Forbes estimates she brought in $148 million in 2025 before taxes, making her the third highest paid musician in the world. So she brought in 148 million in 2025 alone. And that's from sponsorships, and that's before taxes. Okay. Well, Beyonce, make sure you pay your taxes, bitch. All right. So it says this level of financial success has built slowly over the years, especially after she separated from Destiny's Child in the early 2000s and stopped being managed by her father in 2010. She also found novel ways to eventize her music, including the surprise album Beyonce in 2013, an HBO released visual film for Lemonade in 2016, and a headlining Coachella performance in 2018 for Homecoming that drew 8,000 live concurrent viewers on YouTube and would eventually spawn a Netflix documentary for which she received an estimated 60 million from the streamer. For Cowboy Carter, she did a special halftime show for Netflix first day Christmas NFL game, collecting an estimated 50 million, including production costs, and leading her into her new Western aesthetic with a series of Levi commercials, pocketing an estimated 10 million. Despite hits like Texas Hold'em, the album equivalent sales of Beyonce's discography, a metric that takes into account streaming as well as digital and physical sales for 2025, was less than half of other pop artists like Sabrina Carpenter, Bad Bunny, or The Weeknd, according to data provider Luminate. Now, this is a little shade, and I wouldn't really call it shade, because they're basically saying that, like, she makes so much money from like physical versions and eventizing her music, but like her streaming and physical digital sales, which is something that like, her and the Beehive is always getting dragged about when it comes to like Stan Twitter and whatever. Yes, it is like, it says it was less than half of other pop artists like Sabrina Carpenter and Bad Bunny or The Weeknd. So they basically saying that, okay, Beyonce, cool, 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 you making all of this money, but when it comes to sales, like music sales, you actually doing worse than Sabrina Carpenter, Bad Bunny, or The Weeknd. Mind you, Sabrina Carpenter just got here, but that's what you call being fair, right? They're not just saying everything positive, positive, positive about Beyonce. They're drawing a realistic point of view of her portfolio when it comes to how she makes money. So it says, still in a landscape where touring accounts for more than 3/4 of an artist's annual income, right? So touring accounts for more than 75% of an artist's annual income. income, music industry insiders suggest in many cases that it could be as high as 90%. The top earning artists are the ones who can fill the biggest venues like Coldplay, Shakira, and Ed Sheeran. And that's just what Beyonce has done for the past decade. She was the first female artist to headline an all-stadium tour in 2016 and took the spectacle to another level with the Renaissance World Tour in 2023. Similar to Swift, she produced a concert film for the performance and distributed directly through the AMC theater chain, pocketing nearly half of the movie's 44 million global box office gross. And the rare interviews Beyonce has given in recent years, always through written questions, she has said, is that shade? Always through written questions, like Beyonce doesn't do interviews, like, she's everything about her is super planned out and robotic and shit like that. Anyway, she has said that Renaissance and Cowboy Carter are the first two parts of a trilogy of albums. From different genres, fans are left to speculate on how she might reinvent herself next and where she might perform again live. Though she told GQ earlier this year that she only wants to tour from now on while her children aren't in school, in the hopes that they can maintain some semblance of a normal childhood. She says, quote, I have made an extreme effort to stay true to my boundaries and protect myself and my family, she explained. No amount of money is worth my peace. Period. And that is the Forbes article, saying how Beyonce is now a billionaire. So dope article, dope write up. All right, cool. I apologize for how long that takes. Like I be taking so long to get through a topic. But what I want to do now is I want to go through like what's going on Twitter. Let's just see like what people are saying. How are fans reacting to the news? So it says, this person says, the fact that they are not even including Sacred. She's a billionaire solely from music. So actually, I was reading this back and forth earlier, 5.7 thousand likes, right? This person said they're not even including money from Sacred. So they're emphasizing the fact that it's claiming that she's a billionaire solely from music. So fans are going back and forth, right? So it says, um, she doesn't have a single album doing 2 million streams daily. I don't even want to really get into that. I don't, because I don't want to do too much like negative talking and tearing her down. I just want to be fair though, and I'm trying to find like that exchange that I was reading earlier that was talking about like fans were literally arguing back and forth about, well, does the money that they accounted for include Sacred or not? And that was before I read the article. Like I literally just read the article for the first time with you guys, and now in terms of reading the article and just remembering or getting the gist of what they actually said, yes, they did mention Sacred and her other businesses, but from what we read, the true breakdowns of her wealth, it really does come from live music, right? Touring and all of that and stuff like that. Yeah. So here this post says female pop stars. At number 1, Taylor Swift, 1.6 billion. Rihanna, number 2, 1.4 billion. Beyonce, 1 billion. Donna, 850 million. Lena Gomez, 700 million. Celine Dion, 620 million. Katy Perry, 530 million. What's her name? Barbara Streisand, 510 million. Jennifer Lopez, 400 million. You might ask, why am I laughing? Because where is Billionaire Barbie? Where is Billionaire Barbie? So when I seen this earlier today, I was thinking, because it's so funny how like a couple weeks ago, Nicki made up, oh, Billionaire Barbie, this and that or whatever. And it's like, girl, like, please shut the fuck up, because it's like, I feel like, and this is my personal conspiracy theory, right? Nicki, I just feel like, because she always claimed like she know the future and X, Y, and Z. Like, bitch, you're nowhere near a billionaire, okay? If you was anywhere near a billionaire, you wouldn't be having the issues that you be having these days. And that's point blank, period. Like, literally. So here some fans are arguing about, this person says, I'm not about to read all of that, but basically, like, it's the concept of like, there is no ethical billionaire, right? Anybody who's a billionaire, in order to even get to that status, you have to take advantage of those who are less fortunate than you, right? So, and that goes for Rihanna as well. So yes, you have these manufacturing companies who are operating in countries like third world countries who don't make as much money as the US, and you're only paying them 44 cents a day or hour, whatever the fuck it is, right? So it's like, yeah, a lot of billionaires they get a lot of dragging because of that, and it's warranted, right? I think, right? So that's why I'm just bringing up these points, because like I said, I want to be fair, right? Because I've done it for Rihanna, I've done it for literally everyone who has reached this, point of wealth, in life and shit like that. Almost done. So this one says, oh yeah, just a reminder, workers in her clothing line's factories in Sri Lanka are paid barely $5 an hour and are forced, no, that's point 0.5, what? that you mean half a dollar, which is 50 cents. So 50 cents an hour and are forced to work 10 hours a day. So factory workers in her clothing factories are paid that small. So you're going to see a lot of people dragging over things like that. And so this person says, of course, this is a Beyonce fan who attaches an interview from Vlad TV of Beyonce's father back in 2018. And apparently he said, excuse me, Beyonce been a billionaire since 2018. So let's hear what he had to say real quick.
Beyonce is worth $400 million. Jay-Z became hip hop's first billionaire. How
I
poor do you
think that's
feel?
they got it a little backwards. Uh, Beyonce with Forbes in 2018, along with the owner of Dallas basketball team, Mark Cuban.
Cuban,
There's
yeah.
an official process that Forbes goes through to verify. So they both were in the same class of four, Beyonce and Mark Cuban, as certified billionaires. So, I'm a nerd. I get information correctly. So that's inaccurate. Beyonce was verified a billionaire. Now, we can say people are billionaires, but they actually verify you. She was verified in 2018.
So that was Beyonce's father who,
Beyonce's
sorry, who is saying that she has been worth a billion. According to Forbes, she has went through their official process of verifying her net worth and income from 2018, and she's been a billionaire since then. So, let me know if you guys believe that. Me personally, like, I don't know. I don't really care. But it's so funny because it's like nowadays, like when you do become a billionaire, it's such a big deal. So for example, like this morning, like when I saw the news, like you think I'm about to stop my whole day to sit here and talk about Beyonce? On the surface level, I don't really care that much. But a lot of things become topics for me to talk about because then I get on social media and I'm scrolling and it's like everybody's talking about it and everybody has an opinion. And it's like, all right, I guess this is a big deal. Like, I guess I should talk about it? But like what I'm saying is like all of a sudden, like it's such a big deal. And it is a big deal, especially like if you put in the work to amass that kind of wealth, although there once again are no ethical billionaires, like, yeah, that is like a big deal. And it probably should be celebrated and talked about and stuff like that. But I don't really care, to be honest with you. So that is what I had to say about Beyonce and her net worth. So congratulations to her once again. And excited to see how she continues to grow her empire. I wish I went to a Beyonce concert like back in the day, before she, not necessarily before she was this big, but maybe like for her on the run shit. Or yeah, because it's like, of course, like seeing Beyonce should be something that like everybody does in their lifetime. And we're lucky to live in a time where she is alive, because so many of us would probably have wanted to see Michael Jackson, but he's no longer here anymore. But like, yeah. So I feel like Beyonce is someone you should see in your lifetime. But it's like for me, and I could easily kind of get over it, but it's like for me, it's like I don't really like the music that Beyonce is making now. So I don't really care to go and see her, perform and shit like that. I wish I kind of went back in the day, like before she did Renaissance and this Cowboy Carter shit and whatever. But like, I don't really like the music, so I don't really care, to go see her. But Miss Carter tour was good. Seems like every millionaire can become a billionaire now. You still need to really work for it. Like you gotta have businesses. And the thing is like, I gotta bring it back to Nicki once again. Like she a millionaire, but like her getting to billionaire status is gonna take a lot. Like it's not just about, oh, like, okay, you got businesses, you got your Pink Friday nails and you got your Loki sneakers or whatever. You got to scale that business. You got to scale that business. And that's one of the things that Nicki is not good at. She has the ideas. She has great ideas to start businesses, but to scale a business, you need trust, right? Because you need a team. You need to hire. And we all know that Nicki does not trust anybody. She fails when it comes to trust. She is unable to work with people professionally for long periods of time. And those are the qualities that you need in order to run a business at that scale. You can't do what she's doing and think that you're going to get to billionaire status. What do we see of Beyonce and Rihanna? These bitches don't sleep, right? We may not see Beyonce every day, but that bitch is working on another album, on another tour that's going to make 800 million the next time. Rihanna, you still see that bitch walking in the street. Today she in New York, next week she in Paris, tomorrow she in LA, right? Like they're out there, they're promoting their products, they're promoting their businesses. And in order to be the advertisement for their business, they got to have executives in the background they're answering texts, they're answering calls, like they're doing all of these things. They have other people taking care of their businesses while they are the overhead, right? They're overseeing what's going on and also promoting the business. Nicki ain't doing either of them shits. She ain't promoting, nor is she Nor is she running anything, you know? So, like, what do you expect, you know? So you got to put in the work, and you got to, most importantly, put people around you that you trust. That is the most important thing. You cannot do everything. You cannot build an empire on your own. And that is what Nicki doesn't understand. And until she understands that, she'll be where she's at. And that's why she's at where she at right now. But anyway, let's move the fuck on, because I talked about Beyonce enough.
It's your girl, Vina Love, the Harlem Princess, your favorite princess. And this is Destiny Villa. Period.